Today, at home with National Women's Movement leader, Deaconess Monica Plange. She'll talk to us about providing leadership in a time of crisis and how the modern Christian woman can shine in this season. We'll also learn how she's been caring for our communities with a new national initiative and her new vision for the women's ministry. It's all ahead on At Home with Nancy Mills.
Most people are at home. Some people have obviously either working from home or they've been laid off from work. But you, Deaconess Monica, you're actually a frontline worker, and I'm actually speaking to you from work today. So in this time, how has that been for you? It's a lot of pressure, I probably understand, but how have you been finding work in this period?
So I must admit, initially it was really difficult. I have never worked weekends or on a rota, and I've been doing this job for nearly 20 years. And then suddenly, because I work in a hospital social work team, we were asked to support the hospital, and therefore we were doing what they were doing. Working, rota and shift, and suddenly it was very challenging. And being in a hospital as well, you were in the midst of what was going on. So emotionally as well, I didn't realize how it would have affected me, but it did. It did, because I manage about 30 members of staff. Some of them, have to be shielded. Some were all of us were going through emotional turmoil. And it's just thinking that you're a strong woman. And that's what I've always thought that I was, until it just got a bit much at some point. It did get quite difficult here. Currently, it's all simmering down nicely. Yeah.
I think we've got to the point where we're very used to how things are going and how we've managed to settle into
Absolutely. Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
God willing that we're on the way out of this this season. And another thing that I wanted to speak about is, so earlier this year, you were appointed our national women's leader. And I just wanted to find out how you're doing and coping with your new role. I guess normally people have a blueprint as to, okay, this is the way it's been done before. There's some things that I can take, there's some things I can do, but for as long as I've known, I don't think we've had a women's leader in the middle of a global crisis. So there's no one you can actually copy from or learn from. So how have you been finding the last couple of months?
Yes, that's actually quite a good question. So Deaconess Favor that I took over from, I had the pleasure of working with, was a tough, dynamic woman. She was very, very hardworking. So there's a lot that I learned from her, maybe without even knowing. But looking at, the COVID season and the work of God, it's not the same. So for instance, as you know, all this year, you wouldn't have the chance to meet anybody. The Women's week or the Mothering Sunday, and the whole week was spent indoors. So it was quite difficult. We didn't know what to do. We had planned things ahead, and then suddenly God decided to change everything. And we had to just go back to basics. So in the beginning, when all of this started, had a meeting with the team, and we decided to come up with a hashtag I Am My Sister's Keeper project, which it was so that we would intentionally check on each other, check on our women especially. We knew that the pastors, the districts, at all levels, our fathers were doing everything within their power to support. But as you and I know, the women, that's more of us. We shout louder, we spend more. Whatever we do is
we do it a lot more.
Yes, it's emphasized. So we thought that it would be really useful to support our women. And also, when it comes to marginalizing, women are marginalized wherever we go. So we realized that even with, parenting, most of our single parent homes would be just the woman there.
Yeah.
It would be the woman that's not earning so much because she's looking after the children and therefore not working so much. So we thought that it would be a good time to focus on the women. So we did that, and also at some point we realized that the emotional stress was just unbearable. So had a discussion again with National Head, and he gave us he agreed for us to organize a 48-hour prayer chain. It was fantastic. It was absolutely fantastic. We had a few teething problems. Some people had never been through a prayer chain, and to do it, the whole nation, have districts take over and then have areas involved, and the national executives involved, and our mothers, our ministers' wives were just amazing. Our fathers as well. So we were just, it was shocking. It was it was so nice. I'm thinking about it now. And people have been saying, "Oh, maybe we need to do it again."
And again,
it's a lot of work. It's a lot of background work. Oh my God! However, funny enough, following on from that, I don't know about you, I've had many people testify as to the calmness.
Yes. Yeah.
And it just may be that, as we all said, you said in the beginning, we're getting used to all of this. But I want to believe that it was the cry of the women to God, because our topic for the 48 hours was, have mercy on us, God, have mercy on us. I know that he did. He certainly did, because since then, there's been a calmness. We used to hear lots of quite difficult stories from our women folk. And suddenly, all of that has calmed down a bit. So very grateful to God. Very, very, very grateful. So I think, in answer to your question, yes, we haven't operated in the way that we thought we would. I haven't operated in the way that I knew that I should. But I think it's been exciting. It's been different. And I think it's given me the chance to also push the boundaries a bit, because that's what I like to do anyway. So that's,
because you have this opportunity, like no one's had to do this before. So there's so many open doors, so many new things that you can try, that you can really use this window and season to operate in. It would have been so easy to just be like, okay, I'm going to wait till later when everything is back in place and then I'll start the job. But obviously, I know that God has spoken to you and said, no, you need to hit the ground running with this role. And it's been so amazing to watch, like, what's happening the last few months within the ministry. In regards to the future, what does the future of the ministry perhaps look like to you in terms of your leadership? Is there anything that you believe God has really imprinted on your heart to say that, okay, before my time in this particular role comes to pass, I need to make sure that this is done?
Yes, I've always been a boundary pusher. So I struggle with status quo. I always do. And I've always been like that. So I went to Catholic schools. You probably wouldn't understand older people if you go to Catholic schools in Ghana and not here. So we were boxed. I grew up in a box for a long time, but even there, I would always push the boundary just a little bit.
Just a bit.
And if I test and it works, then I'll push a little bit more. And it was never anything negative. Thank God for that. It was just, I needed to breathe. I've always wanted to exhale. So the women's ministry, and to be honest, there's a woman in the Bible that I always talk about. Anyone that's heard me preach, probably I've mentioned that woman. And this is the Syrophoenician woman who pushed the boundaries and got what she wanted. And I believe that at this time, that's what God's expecting from us women. The status quo needs to change. We need to be seen. We need to be heard. There's so much inside of us that we can't keep quiet. We're too pregnant to be quiet. So I think for me, the women's ministry, I hope, I pray And I trust God for a ministry that would come up with, especially the virtuous ladies.
Yeah.
We are rooting for the virtuous ladies.
Yeah.
We, that's National Head's heartbeat as well.
Yeah.
We're rooting for the virtuous ladies to just flourish and blossom into women that the church will be proud of. If we're possessing the nations, we can't do that quietly. We can't do that without, learning about things, knowing about things, being involved in things. So one of the other things that I think the women's ministry needs to look at is the social care aspects of the church. So I'm praying for all of this to die down a bit, and I'm hoping to have that discussion with the leadership of the church, with National Head and his executive, about having a formal Pentecost social services. I know that they have it in Ghana, they have it in US, they have it in other places, and it would be a forum where we can intentionally support our people, not just the women, mainly the women, but also everyone else. And I say the women's ministry because I know that social care, social services tends to be a female-oriented field. So there's more women in those fields than there are men. There are men. But there's nothing stopping the church from taking on that mandate and being in a position where we are able to target the support that we give our people. Yeah.
I mean, just even on that note, the fact of like helping out the community and being seen, I want to talk about We Care. It's been, I when I saw it, I was like, you have like pride in your heart about what your church is doing. You feel proud about the fact that we're not just hiding away behind our bedroom walls and stuff. We actually want to get out and help. How did that come about? Because I can't imagine that it's been easy.
Yes. No, it hasn't. However, do you know what? I just want to thank National Head as well. So as I said, I push boundaries, I ask questions.
Yeah.
And there hasn't been anything I've gone to him so far that he hasn't said, all right, go for it. So, and I'm sure that some of them, he's been a bit apprehensive, but I think he just, maybe he's just watching me as well. Obviously, we've started working together, and maybe he's just watching me. Maybe he's just got faith in me. I don't know.
Yeah.
So when COVID happened and it was official, now we're going to be locked indoors.
Yeah.
I thought, we can't just sit there. I think we're too careful. We're too nice. We're too careful again. I'll use that word because I can't find any other words. But so I spoke to National Head and I said, I think as a church, we shortchange ourselves. We undermine our power. And I think we need to do something on a large scale.
Yeah.
And he went, okay.
Wow.
And I was like, okay.
Oh.
What does okay mean? He said, what do you think? So I said, I think we should do something nationally.
Yeah.
So I know that districts do a lot of things. As I said, I used to raise funds within my district. Other people do more. People visit hospitals, care homes. The church does a lot. But because we're doing them singularly and within the districts, it's not going out there. So maybe it's just the people in the local area that tend to hear what's going on. So I said, I think we need to do something nationally. I think we need to do the same thing within the 4 areas, possibly on the same day. That was my vision, on the same day, and hope that we'll get the media to cover it. That was the vision. Get the media to cover it, to say the Church of Pentecost UK has done A, B, or C.
Yeah.
So National Head said, all right, I'll leave you in charge. Go and do it and come back and tell me exactly what it takes. I was really busy with work and other things. But thankfully, we had a 17-man committee set up, and I must admit, big shout to all of them. I couldn't mention all their names here. They know themselves. Our ministers' wives from all the areas, our deaconesses. It was just a women's only committee, though. I'm quite sexist like that.
You have to fly that flag, yeah.
And it was just that I knew the women that were all pregnant with ideas and things to do. You know, we can't sit still. And I must admit, anyone I called was like, yeah, let's go for it. Let's go for it. We've had probably about 4 or 5 meetings.
Oh.
And this has happened.
Yeah.
And we were so blessed as well, you know, some of the people. So we intentionally involved people in different fields, but people who had ideas about the media, different mindset, different skills, and put all of that together. And thankfully, we went back to National Head and we said, we need money. Mm-hmm. And it was just, how much you need? All right, we double it. It was good money.
Yeah.
If he had given us more, we would have still used it.
Yeah.
But what we got, it was more than enough. We were able to do what we did, which you were testifying with. So yes, that's what happened.
Amazing. I can't wait to see, you know, what else comes out of this ministry, either from yourself or just going forward in general. Just before I go, is there anything that you want to share with our young women or just women in general across the country, you know, at a time like this when we're still at home, we're slowly creeping out of our normal way of living, but is there any sort of word of encouragement or anything you would like to share with us?
Do you know what? I think the church is working harder. In this, so we're in the same district, so you would know that in 11 Spring District we haven't had long periods of nothing happening. Exactly. Be the youth, be the the children's ministry.
They're on Sundays, fire the last couple of weeks.
Honestly, I am so proud of the 2 presenters of the children's ministry. I know Mama Cecilia and her homework club, and there is a lot going on. What can I say to the women? And you know what? All of these things, there's a lot of women behind the scenes doing a lot of these work. People like yourselves and your team. Amazing work. I think God, and we know that God knew about this. Mm-hmm. God allowed this. God is in the midst of all of this. And I think what God is showing the church is that the church is you and I. The church is not the building. And as long as we keep that in mind and remember that it is the relationship with God that matters. So, for instance, now as a deaconess, you're not in church to do the Lord's Supper. You're not in church, you know, to do the things that we thought that we would need to be doing. But you're still a deaconess. In the eyes of God, you're still a worker. So wherever we are, in our little boxes, in our little homes that we found ourselves, to ensure that we keep moving. And by moving, I mean physically, spiritually, emotionally, and financially as well. We need to not be static. We need to be moving. Some people may be flying, some may be running, some may be walking, some may be crawling. As long as we're moving. Amen. God is not a still God, as in he creates constantly, things are happening constantly, and we need to move abreast with the times.
Amen. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Deaconess Monica. Have a great day. Enjoy the weather while you can.
Thank you.
Take care, okay? Thank you so much.
Yeah,
bye.
Bye.
Next time.
We don't assure ourselves that God is with us. There are other theories, there are other propositions, there are other concepts that will sway us. But over this period of time, we have to assure ourselves that God is with us so that we can become a source of encouragement to other people around us.